Welcome back on Bloomberg Technoz, the leaders. Today, I will meet and talk with Martyn Terpilowski, the founder and also investor of Bhumi Varta company, a company that provides geospatial intelligence. Hi, how are you?
Sorry, I'm late this morning.
That's okay.
Hectic. Good.
Everything's good. I've been wondering about your company now.
Welcome to BSD. Welcome to our office.
So this is your building, right?
Yeah, this is our office, both here and next door. We've been here around maybe 3 years actually. I think
3 years.
We moved during COVID, and we were originally in a serviced up office, and then we took this building, and then when we got full, we took the next building. And yeah, we look forward to show you around.
Oh, interesting. Shall we go?
Let's go.
Okay. Can you describe what the challenges that you encounter for the first time that you're establishing this company?
Well, there's lots of challenges, right? So,
Yeah.
we financially backed ourselves, so we don't have the usual kind of venture funding. Myself and my friends financially back the business, and we are kind of unusual for a startup in Indonesia, as we are a B2B and a big G player.
Right.
So our clients generally are the big corporations and government.
Okay.
And nothing moves quick in that kind of world in Indonesia. So, the challenges are, when we first started the business, the challenges were getting use cases.
Okay.
Because our product's very new. What we do, location analytics software, no one's ever done it before in Indonesia to scale.
Right.
So we had to actually educate the clients a lot.
Yeah.
There's huge amounts of data, and it's a real mess, to be honest. It's all over the place.
Yes.
So if we can be a data aggregator and link that data to a geographical position,
Yeah.
we can help companies expand their business in a far more educated manner. So we can offer basically business intelligence to some of the major corporations in Indonesia, which we do now. So it was something new to me, but when I looked at the model, it just makes sense.
I will ask you more about that, but can we go up?
Yeah, let's go upstairs and have a look
Okay.
around. Cheers.
Wow, this is a lot of people. What are they doing?
This floor is the GIS floor, which is geospatial guys, and they actually work in relation to building our map. So we have our own map. Locally, we basically buy data, and we also have teams collecting data.
Really?
We don't use like the big global map companies.
Really?
We do it ourselves. So some of these guys are collecting data on toko kelontongs, on all these different, because as we know,
Interesting.
70% of the market here is still small stores.
Yeah.
So a lot of the FMCG companies, they need that data. Most of our company here is tech. We have a small marketing and sales team, but mainly I think about 75% of our staff is on the product building side. Yeah.
You mentioned that you have a team that go around Indonesia to build the map.
Yeah, so we scrap some data from various ways, but our main way of collecting data is through a community, like students, etc., that can collect data on an app and send it back to us to allow us to collect that data. Yeah.
All right, that's interesting, and I want to know more about your journey.
Yeah.
And I will invite you to Bloomberg Technoz building. Actually, shall we go?
Let's go.
Okay. What the most influenced you to do this business?
Basically, I came to Indonesia to talk to a senior politician's son about a totally different business. But 5 years ago, they were talking about downstreaming technology. And has it been done? It's been done by a foreigner. Because the money's not there to do it.
Yeah.
They want, they want, other people to invest all the money to do it. They don't want to invest themselves. And then they'll say, oh, some foreigners doing this. Well, how else can it happen, It's the same situation with Elon Musk. Did you want him coming here or not? What do people want? If they want, the new capital, for example, if they want, as it states, 80% of the money to come from overseas, That's fine, but they've got to accept that the innovation is being backed by foreigners. There is a lot of money in venture capital in Indonesia, billions of dollars, and it's all been invested in non-innovative solutions. Peer-to-peer lending, grocery deliveries.
Yeah.
And now that's their choice. It's no telling them what they can invest in. But the fact that the foreign entities want to invest into deep tech, I mean that should be a positive for Indonesia, and it should be embraced. They're not taking the jobs out of Indonesia. We're not outsourcing to India. You know what I mean? We're building the software here. So.
Okay, Martyn, thank you once again. You join us in Bloomberg Technoz in the leaders right now in our studio.
Very nice. Very nice indeed.
How you describe the current state of geo in Indonesia, especially?
I mean,
join Mark.
It's still a really early time for geospatial. So if you look at the statistical data for Asia, ASEAN, you will see that every country is growing in this. China has a number of billion-dollar companies now. India has a number of billion-dollar companies now. And even Thailand, the Philippines, Singapore, which is a tiny island with, I would have thought, limited use for geospatial, to be honest, due to its size and convenience. And they've all got growth markets, so you can see this growing. And if you look at the latest information out of location analytics data, Indonesia still has not even a line. So I think we will hopefully break into that soon. But I mean, we are the only player who is building software from scratch. Most of the other players are doing project by project. So they get a project, they need the money from the client, they go ahead and build a project, money from the client, build a project. That's quite problematic. It's because getting the money from the client to go forward means it's very hard to employ a significant number of people. So still, the vast majority of geospatial software here, really, traditionally, it's only been used by the government and the mining companies, actually. It hasn't been used by F&B and retail and FMCG. So in relation to, we're the people that kind of introducing that. In fact, one of the very small companies here who does this, or quite small, with 15 employees, he recently thanked me for building the brand of geospatial in Indonesia. And this is a kind of new business model. So breaking down those objections is a challenge, but I think now it's becoming a lot easier. And I think once this starts, I think this will be something which will just become the norm. It'll just become the norm because everybody else will be using it and everybody else will be making more revenue by using it. So at the end of the day, you'll just use it like in the same way that people use SAP or any other, whatever other product they use. People never used to use this, but it became the norm. And I think that's what will happen with geospatial.
Yeah, so it's because it's new here in Indonesia, the word you said. So the awareness about the revenue to use geospatial intelligence, it's kind of maybe very small to the Indonesian market right now, right?
Of course.
And then you mentioned before about the government. So could you possibly give us your perspective about what the governments in Indonesia did they supporting about this?
Previously the government have used geospatial in some ways too. So they bought software from China or the US and built on top. So we are now increasingly deal with organized parts of the government, particularly BPN, ATR. We've also dealt before with BSSN, and so particularly BPN, the potential is very big actually. Again, there's a lot of pushback to this kind of product because it really simplifies everything, and people are worried that it may impact their ability to make money maybe. Nothing's an easy process when you're introducing something very new. Again, it's down to the business processes. There are lots of business processes here that are very old and outdated and antiquated, and people quite like them because they feel that keeping it like this supports their job, etc. But as we come into a world where everyone now is talking about AI, and everyone's talking about these things are coming, right? I think AI has been blown up in respect of what it can do. Yes, ChatGPT is great, but just calling yourself an AI company overnight and raising money is the same old problem with the whole venture world. But you cannot really fight technology long term. And when your government talk about being a hub for technology, the reality is Singapore obviously miles ahead, Vietnam miles ahead. It hasn't been embraced in the same way. Indonesia still has quite inward looking. Most of the big corporations here are not looking to go overseas. You know, they're just based here, right? Their market's big enough here. They're protected here. But long term, as the market grows, competition needs to grow. And there I think that's what opportunity will come for everybody, I think.
You already mentioned about that Singapore, even Vietnam have leading in this section, right? Comparing with Indonesia. So what do you think, how we can run and catch something like more into a chill in?
I think there needs to be more investment in innovation.
More investment in innovation. So the government have to open more.
For example, I mean, recently you read about the Meripati Fund. The Meripati Fund will be a venture capital fund which is set up by the main BUMN bank venture capital businesses. And this is a great idea. You listen to the people involved, they talk about innovation. In the same sentence, they talk about our strategy is exits. As I said to you many times, no generational company has ever been built when the purpose of starting the company was to exit. That's just never happened. Look at every company, look at Toyota, look at any company globally. Nobody set up the company, got out in 3 or 4 years, and that company has gone on to be a serious global success story. You look at what's gone on in the last 15 years. I mean, YouTube sold quickly, but that's not why they set up. They sold quickly and it was a great deal, but look at it in the US even, how many of these companies that were set up to flip, they just haven't worked out. The people who started them up are out of the companies now. They then moved on to cloud kitchens. They then moved on to something else. Will these companies be around in 10 years? We don't know. You know, we've just seen one of the biggest startup companies go bust, which have billions of dollars put into it, and the guy's already onto his next venture. You know, so I think the major thing is look at innovation. Don't always look outside for your technology, because you need to be self-sufficient in some respects, and a lot of that again comes back to, you know, how careful, because sometimes dealing with the government, as you know, can be quite complicated here. And sometimes for these guys, it's easier to just bring software from overseas, etc. But long term, you need your own software. So I think if you look at Vietnam, they're providing grants for foreign investors. They're providing help. There isn't the level of protectionism. Vietnam is supposed to be a communist country, but there isn't the level of Singapore welcomes foreign investors with open arms. Here, you're welcomed as a foreign investor if you give money to people in the market. And most people who are experienced foreign investors do not want to give their money to people in the market. They trust their own ability. And therefore, there has to be more openness in how foreigners can invest in Indonesia, and how this isn't a threat to Indonesia if you're creating jobs in Indonesia. You know, it's not. So this thought process is where if these foreigners come in, they'll take our jobs, etc. It's just not the case. If the company is actually, we are a PMA, we pay taxes in Indonesia.
We are a private sector, right?
We're a local company in Indonesia. Now, remember, a lot of the unicorns have their tax bases in Singapore. So again, what do we want here? What do we want? If you are pushing, we have our tax bases here because we want to be a local company, local content, we want to support the local economy. And yet, therefore, I expect support for the government as well, really.
Is this your strategy to make BVT in a long-term business? Of course, Shinji. I mean, right.
Of course.
Yeah.
So if I leave in 5 years' time, and the BVT fully exists still, that BVT is not just sold by me, that I maintain shares in the company. When we IPO, it's not an exercise of me dumping my stock into the market. When I maintain stock in the business and we hire professional managers who are more qualified than me to run the business, like we've already done. I mean, I don't run the business. I hired somebody who's qualified to run the business.
Okay. So you have a plan to make a BVT in the IPO? Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, I'm not in a huge rush. But yes, I think, but
Maybe
again,
it's a
my
5 years
IPO my IPO strategy is very similar to to going back to the old days.
Yeah.
An IPO, in my opinion, should be only done to give some of your existing investors access to their capital if they wish, but also should be done to open your business up to more investors. That's what an IPO should be, not to dump it on the retail investors, because you know fine well that the price is going down. Now, I think every professional in financial markets knew that most of the startups globally were going to struggle in IPO market.
Yeah.
Because most of them were SPACing in the US, because Singapore government, Japan government, etc. wouldn't allow these companies to IPO and give their retail investors all these problems. So an IPO, I think I'm looking at it very differently. I'm looking at an IPO where people come into it due to the value of that business, and that business then increases in value, and the existing investors maintain shares in the company. Very much like the old days, going back to the historical companies of Indonesia. I mean, the biggest shareholders in a lot of the big companies here are the families of the founders. The families of the founders of this building, the families of the founders of Astra, they've all got shares in the company. And that's the difference.
So you mentioned on and on about the long-term business and then, what do you see in BVT like 10 years ahead from now?
Well, 10 years is a long time, and I don't want to think about it because I'll be 56. But yeah, I think, I will obviously not be doing the same as today. I mean, I work at the moment very hard. I'm like kind of company mascot every day, pushing people, talking to people, active on social media. But having a company that I can maintain shares in, maintain some involvement in, and which has become the norm. Every company in Indonesia needs to be using location analytics software to make better decisions. That's only going to become even more better when you get better data. Indonesia still doesn't have the best data. The more organized the data is, and the better the engines, the better the innovation for managing that data, it's going to make everybody's life easier. So this shouldn't be seen as a challenge to people, as a we're going to lose your job. No, it's going to enhance the economy. It's going to lift people out of poverty. This is what people need to understand. This is not about taking your jobs. This is about changing your jobs. So you're doing something different. And we know, what the unicorns have done in Indonesia is they've created a new economy, and they have helped a lot of people. I don't doubt that. They just need to know how to make profit from that. But I really think that, if you look at the market, I think this can be a potential, maybe the first Indonesian company that has ever gone and started selling software into Japan. Because if we ever get to a certain size, I can take this to Japan because I have the connections in Japan. And we can take this to the Philippines. We can take this to Middle East. We can take it to anywhere once we've built the software to a level that's, totally robust and competitive. What we can do in Indonesia is build software far cheaper than they can in Silicon Valley. We can, after building the software and getting it to be used by every company in Indonesia, we can then take that and go to other countries with the same product. And then become, as I say, Indonesia's first deep tech company.
Thank you so much for joining us at Bloomberg Technoz as the leaders session here. And then this is our conversation about BPT and also about the geospatial intelligence with Mr. Martyn Terpilowski.
Thank you so much today for having me. And hopefully another time we can catch up, and hopefully next time there's lots more positive stories to tell also. So thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.